Hello, I'm Neil Nunes with the BBC News. The United States and Britain have both warned of a high risk of an attack at Kabul airport and advised their nationals not to travel there. Those already outside the Afghan facility are advised to leave immediately. This report from Paul Adams.
These near-simultaneous warnings were very specific. Do not travel to Kabul airport. If you're in the area, move away to a safe location and wait for further advice. Officials won't elaborate on the nature of the threat, but on Tuesday, President Biden warned of the danger posed by extremists linked to the group calling itself Islamic State. What all this means for the final days of this multinational evacuation mission is not clear.
The airlift at Kabul airport has continued at a rapid pace. Dozens of military flights ferried close to 20,000 people out of Afghanistan in the past day. But with an end to the airlift approaching, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has insisted American efforts to help people leave the country will continue past the August 31st deadline. He told journalists Washington was trying to locate all U.S. citizens still inside Afghanistan and consular support would be maintained.
The President has asked for contingency plans in case he determines that we must remain in the country past that date. But let me be crystal clear about this. There is no deadline on our work to help any remaining American citizens who decide they want to leave to do so, along with the many Afghans who have stood by us over these many years and want to leave and have been unable to do so.
An international team of 500 scientists says last year was the warmest on record across much of Europe, putting further strain on the physical environment and human society. They say the temperature was more than 1.9 Celsius above the average registered between 1981 and 2010, with the Arctic a degree above the norm for a seventh successive year. World Health Organization experts are warning the window of opportunity to study the origins of COVID-19 is running out. The authors of the original WHO report into how the virus emerged from China say further delays could make some of the required research biologically impossible. Their warning coincides with the WHO appearing to roll back from its planned second international mission to China. The newly installed governor of New York has said at least 12,000 more people have died from COVID-19 in the state than previously reported by her predecessor, Andrew Cuomo. The revelation came as Kathy Hochul's second day in office after Mr. Cuomo's resignation on Tuesday following a sex scandal. The earlier figures had been hotly contested. This is the latest world news from the BBC. New research in West Africa has shown combining an anti-malaria vaccine with a preventative drug lowered hospital admissions and deaths from the disease by more than 70%. But a key precondition is for the medical cocktail to be administered before the start of the annual rainy season in June. More from Charles Haviland.
Malaria mainly affects children and young people, killing more than 400,000 people each year, mostly in Africa. The new research was carried out among 6,000 children aged between 5 months and 17 months in Burkina Faso and Mali. Combining the world's first malaria vaccine with anti-malarial tablets was found to be more effective than either approach on its own, reducing malaria deaths by 73%. A professor from the Malian Partner Institute in the research, Alassane Dicko, called it wonderful news for malaria control. It's hoped the approach will now be widely adopted.
A man's been sentenced to more than 6 years in prison for plotting to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of the U.S. state of Michigan, over the state's COVID restrictions. Ty Garbin described how the group constructed a mock-up of Miss Whitmer's holiday home and practiced an assault on the building. President Biden has hosted a meeting of cabinet officials and technology business leaders to discuss how to make American firms and infrastructure more secure against cyber attacks. He told the meeting, that included the bosses of Amazon, Apple, Google, and Microsoft, that the federal government could not meet the challenges alone. Crowds of protesters have returned to the streets of Ramallah in the Israeli-occupied West Bank to demand more freedom of expression. Several had only just been released from prison after the Palestinian security forces arrested them at peaceful demonstrations over the weekend. BBC News.